Okay, welcome to another episode of Built by Liquidation, a reseller podcast where we teach you how to resell using liquidation. And not only that, we help you get your money out of liquidation and into some more sustainable investments. Today, we've got Mike Rice on, the holy hustler from TikTok, owner of Mike Rice Auction House in Meridian, Mississippi, if I remember right. I almost have your intro memorized from your TikToks. So introduce yourself, Mike. Tell us who you are, what you do, and I guess how you got into liquidation in the first place.
Yeah, so my name is Mike Rice. I'm in a little town of Meridian, Mississippi, and man, I was working a regular job like most everybody else, and just thought, hey, there's got to be something more than this. Just kind of hustling on the weekends. Always had it in my blood. When I was a kid, I would go sell candy and stuff at school. Got me a little flea market booth. Started flipping stuff from yard sales, and man, we just blew up. Me and my wife started on Amazon back when Amazon was good and they weren't just a bully. And, we were selling, and like Friday evening, I'd get off work, we'd hit the road and we'd go what we call Walmart hopping. And we'd just go retail arbitrage, man, and tear it up. And then I was making 55 grand a year at a job, and I thought I was doing it. And then I looked at my online sales, and we had made like 100 grand on Amazon. I was like, come on, man, if I can do this for the weekends, it's time to quit. So anyway, we started out with the flea markets, and we noticed we were getting stuff that maybe would sell better on eBay and Amazon. So we branched out to eBay and Amazon. The flea market's kind of always been a thing. And now we've progressed into, we are more in a clean case pack other than like just liquidation truckloads like you would think. I don't buy, maybe a few truckloads a year, but, that's kind of where we're at. I'm a youth pastor. I've got 4 kids and a family, and, I've built this life on liquidation, and it's done really well for us so far.
It's so funny. You said 2 things that I've said before, and one, I've built it all in liquidation. So I don't care how difficult this industry gets and how annoyed I get at it. I just said this with Mike Levine the other day, I owe it all to liquidation.
Yeah.
What we've built could not have been done for us without liquidation. College dropout, I couldn't do it. Pregnant at 17, I made every mistake you possibly could. And, we came to the other side, and we've done extremely well, just like you have too. And it's funny to me, you also said something that I haven't thought about in years, but the Walmart hopping thing, man, we used to do 24-hour runs where we would go to every Walmart, because if you find something at one Walmart, it's usually at all of your local ones.
Yeah.
And you got to hit them all. So I remember just nights we would spend just loading up the car with the clearance items. And, now they have apps for all that stuff where it's, they take the fun out of it. You know what you're getting. Everybody knows about it now. And it's definitely not the same as it was, but it used to be a lot of fun. There was no risk to it, because if it didn't sell in 30 days, you just took it back to Walmart, and they, no questions asked, they would take it back. So you mentioned that you guys started, sourcing from the flea markets, eBay, Amazon. Are you guys still doing the e-commerce thing, or have you kind of drifted away from it? You mentioned Amazon, is different now.
Yeah, so we went straight from, obviously people started, they're hearing my name. They're wanting to know where they can get the merchandise from. And so we just kind of leaned into wholesaling more than anything. And that really picked up. And then, my wife was working a full-time job for me, basically. We would go out on a Friday. All weekend we would spend picking up stuff at Walmart. And this is when Walmarts were 24 hours. You could say, I would just say, hey, where are we going? We're going to Florida. We're going to Louisiana. We're going to Georgia. You just pick a direction, and we would go as hard as we could. And like you said, those items were there, and you were looking for that one specific item. You didn't even have to scan. And there were so many hidden clearance items that no one knew about. And there wasn't a BrickSeek or any of these apps. This stuff came about, no Discords or nothing like that. So now we were tearing them up, and some of this stuff was selling at the flea markets and here and there. Well, then these little local resellers at the auctions they were all, they were getting on it. Like, hey, where can I get this stuff from? Because I had stuff that nobody had, it was new stuff. I mean, I was getting Ozark Trail 20-quart coolers for $10. I mean, I was ripping them up. And the only problem was my supply was limited. So I had to figure out, how do I get more of this stuff? So when I finally left my job, man, we stayed true to the flea markets. And then, we just kind of grew from there, and then we eventually got our own business. So right now we're not doing any e-commerce except for Whatnot. We just jumped back on Whatnot. It's done well for us. Some days are better than others. And then we do a Facebook live sale, but as far as shipping it off to eBay or Amazon, man, or Walmart, they're bullies, and I'd rather not deal with them.
For sure. So you mentioned you do the Facebook Live. So, every time I hear you on Facebook or TikTok, it's my price auction. So are you still, you said the Facebook auction, is that like a weekly thing? Is it straight to consumer? Or are you still doing a lot of wholesale stuff with that?
So we started the auctions, and we don't do as many auctions now as we used to, but we do a wholesale auction every Thursday at our building, and we do it on Zoom as well. But the state of Mississippi, when COVID hit, state of Mississippi, we heard they were going to start cracking down on the online auctions. So I went ahead and got my auctioneer license. And then, we started doing a Facebook Live auction. We just put something on the screen, and people would bid it off. We'd start a timer. And people, they loved it. They didn't have to get out. They didn't have to shop. It's hot in Mississippi. Most of the warehouses you got are hot, so they just shop from their house. So we did that. And then, Facebook's been a really good platform for me. I jumped on one day and said, "What's up, guys? It's Mike Rice, Ox, 7007 4th Street, downtown Meridian." And, just messing around, and it's catchy.
Yeah.
And everybody that does social media is like, nobody cares about your name. Don't start with your name. And it's just like, now I got little kids coming in the store, and they're like, Mike Rice auctions. And then I was in Atlanta about a year ago, and like a little Chinese guy's like, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. So it's kind of cool. And, we've grown social media into, we're at like almost 40,000 followers, which is not a ton, but man, in a little town in Meridian, Mississippi, dude, it's doing good for us. And we're able to post whatever we get a truckload of water in, and we get posted on Facebook, and, we sell out in 30 minutes. It's
Yeah.
great what liquidation does. So
No, I've watched your, now that we've gotten into it a little bit more, when I first started, and I tell people this, I'm like, I wish I had have just like pushed for it, like I was on Facebook, we were doing with the pallet sales, we were doing the lives every day. Like I had a social media presence. I didn't know what it meant, and I didn't push for it. I didn't like maintain it. And now that we're out of the pallets for a few years, and I'm trying to build that presence back that I had. It's way more difficult this time around because we don't do the pallets, and so like the content it's not as easy when you don't have product or you don't have a lot of different product. Like nobody cares about 1,000 walking canes when I'm liquidating that. So I wish I had just kind of maintained that social media. I just, I didn't realize how that was pre-COVID, right? So no one knew what was going to happen with TikTok and, and COVID and all that. It just all of that blew up. And there's so many similarities as you keep talking. There's so many similarities. We did the same thing when COVID hit. They were cracking down on the auctions. I didn't end up getting my license, but we did the Facebook, like we pivoted to Facebook Live auctions like every day because that's we couldn't get people to come in unless they were picking up, like just didn't want to or whatever. But the margins were so great. Like we were selling we were selling it by the case at that point. I mean, it was 8 hours a day. We were rolling those auctions out, and they started. I don't know if somebody reported us towards the end, but like we got a call from the auction commission or something like, you're not supposed to be doing this without a license. And I was like, dude, it's like, this is how we're making money right now. So if you want to find me, go ahead, but I'm going to keep on going. If you want me to, I can like not auction it off and I can ask for offers. If you want me to call it that instead, they never pursued anything. I think a lot of stuff just kind of like, let people survive. But COVID really, I think I've said this in every single podcast interview. COVID was like the best thing that happened to us. And it's always like a terrible thing to say because, it affected a lot of people negatively, but like that blew us up. And like we made so much money during that time period because you could sell everything was selling, and it was selling for high prices back when the costs were still fairly low. But to back up a little bit, I know you said you were working a job, $55,000 a year, Meridian, Mississippi. I don't know a ton about Meridian, but I know Mississippi 55,000 probably goes a decent way. What gave you the confidence to quit? How nervous were you when you quit? And then if there's somebody watching that is on the fence, what's your advice to them on would you quit your job today in the way the industry is right this second? Would you still make the same call to quit your job, or would you try to do it as a side hustle?
So I hear everybody talking about the industry, and I sell in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, a little bit in Georgia, and I hear it all over. It's either feast or famine right now. And I know like truckload guys, it's tough right now. And I don't do truckloads. Truckloads is what boosted me up. Now I'm not going to liquidation truckloads are great. If you can get them right, if you know the source, but there's so many people out there trying to cut throat and make $100 here off of a whole load. But I'm gonna tell you, man, when we left, like I was called into the ministry and I had guaranteed $55,000 a year 401k as a private prison, and I was leaving that in to go to make $225 a week for this church that I was going to work for. No insurance. I was driving a school bus for insurance, but it was kind of like, man, it was a God thing. He just laid it all out for me, and he's like, hey, this is going to work, and I had no doubts about it then. I would do it again today. I'll tell you this: it's not about the industry. You're going to change and pivot whatever you got to do. If you're a hustler, if it's in your blood and it's in your mind, just do it, man. Just jump the boat. We all mess up in line. I think somebody said the other day, it might have been on one of your podcasts, like the success and failure look exactly the same until it doesn't. So, man, I would say jump out there. I got a call from a buddy during COVID, and I'd already quit my job at this time. I think I quit in 2017. This was before COVID, like right before COVID, couple months. And he's like, hey, I got a truckload. You're going to love this load. I was like, send it. I think it was like $5 or $6 grand. It was a Staples load. I opened the back door, dude. It was a bunch of dented freaking filing cabinets. I thought my guy had got me. Fast forward like 4 or 5 months from then that we're just kind of processing this. COVID hits, and this thing was loaded with like Lysol, toilet paper, all the stuff that everybody wanted, man. We were selling rolls of toilet paper for $1 at a flea market booth, man. It's freaking crazy. So would I quit liquidation today? Yes. Is it for everybody? I mean, would I quit my job today? Yes. It's not for everybody. It's a hustle because like you've been talking on your podcast. I mean, the liquidation industry is in trouble right now, but I'll tell you the economy, when the economy gets bad, my business gets good because everybody's always looking for a deal. I remember going out 5 o'clock in the morning and picking up stuff off the side of the road or going to yard sales and just repurposing that. And that was like in the '08 era when the economy dipped and everybody was they didn't want to go out and buy new. They wanted to go buy used. And these little when I call them flea markets, they're consignment stores. So you put your stuff in them, kind of like what you're about to start doing. You put your stuff in them, you rent the booth, and then they get a commission off of it. Yep. And dude, now I've got, I think 15 booths across 3 states. I've got a girl full-time-ish in a Sprinter van, and that's all she does. She just comes to the warehouse. She shops for the flea markets. And some of them are doing $500 or $600 a month. Some of them are doing $3,000 to $5,000 a month. So, and you multiply that by 15. I mean, we're rocking and rolling. So you might not be doing the same thing you thought you were doing when you quit your job, but if it's in you, if it's in your blood, bro, nothing's going to stop you. Nothing.
No, you're right. And I think, I think the people that fail in this business are the people that either don't or aren't willing to pivot. When we first started, we were selling baby clothes out of trash bags. That's how we got started. It wasn't marketplace yet. It was just Facebook's like buying and selling groups, and people they'd get rid of their kids' baby clothes by the trash bag, and we'd pick them up and we'd sort all the brands out. The brands would go on eBay, and the rest we'd bundle it up, auction it off. And then we learned about the pallets because I was like, man, baby clothes are great. The margin's awesome, but like it's a big margin on a little sale, right? So like to build something, it's not going to be baby clothes. Mm-hmm. And then we found out about pallets. We actually went to freight auctions. I had $4,000 in my bank account. I know I was 17 at the time. I spent that. We had no money. So pregnant wife at home. I spent all this stuff on pallets, and I'm like, we're going to make money on this in my parents' basement. And that's where we started. And now today, like we sell closeouts. I mean, we get calls from all over the country, looking for people that need that they have product and they need someone that can get rid of it for them. We've got a deal that we just closed up yesterday that we start next week. It's 1,000 pallets of Home Depot. It was just a liquidator like us, and he got sick and he can't move it, and he needs someone like us to come in and handle this big, massive liquidation. So what I'm doing today is nothing what it looked like when I quit. I can't say quit my job because I worked for my dad until I started making too much money doing this, and I was like, I'm going to focus on this, but we're all willing to pivot and do the work. And I think when a lot of people just aren't, I'm going to sell pallets, or I'm going to sell on eBay, and then that goes away. And I don't want to sell on whatnot. That live selling's for losers. Like it's not, like maybe it's not your cup of tea, but if it's between live selling on whatnot and going back to a regular job, I'm going to sell live on Whatnot until that doesn't work for me. And then I'm going to pivot. And I'm going to find something else.
Yeah, the person that I see failing the most in my business, and I deal with a lot of these guys are going out to auctions and flea markets and stuff like that. The guys that I see that's not succeeding are
Mhm.
the ones that are still trying to balance a job with this, and they're it's not even a side hustle for them. They're wanting this to be their hustle,
Yeah.
but they're still holding on to that job. And at the end of the day, it's where is your faith at? Is your faith in a boss that could fire you tomorrow, or is it in you? Because when I wake up in the morning, I got 4 kids that are hungry. I got a wife that she really likes to have a house with air conditioner. Like these are the things that motivate me, dude. So like, it's I'm betting on myself. I'd rather bet on myself than another job, and that's just what it is, So if I've got to get up and, I saw you the other day, you were cutting grass, it's like, man, this ain't my job, but at the end of the day, it's got to get done. And dude, I'm building a wall in one of my Airbnbs. So I don't know what I'm doing, but man, I'm gonna figure it out. And that's kind of how it was in this business. Is like, I just started buying stuff and people wanted it. And I see people all the time. They're opening up shops in their house. They got storage units out in their front yard. I mean, if the hustle is there, you're gonna make it 100%. Nothing's gonna stop you.
And I love seeing people when they just get started and they're doing it out of their house and they're doing it out of their garage. They're finding every which way to do it, and I get asked that question a lot. It's like, when is it time to go out and to get out of your house and out of your garage? And the older I get, I talked to somebody years ago and we weren't small, but it's never enough. And I just had this conversation with Mike Levine, and it's a mental thing for me that I have to figure out at some point. And it's like, when is enough enough? Because like you set a goal, and my problem is when I see that I'm close, I just move the goalpost, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. But I had advice from somebody, and he was like, "Are you making money? Are you happy with the amount of money you're making?" I was like, "Yeah, I think so." He's like, "Well, then stay the size you're at." He's like, "The more you build, the more problems you have, the more stress you have." And the guy had a NASCAR team. He had a NASCAR team. I mean, like, he had everything everybody wants to build up to. And I'm like, this is the wrong person to be saying this. Like, I would like to be at that level where, like, that is the level. I don't like NASCAR, but you get what I'm saying. Like, and looking back, I'm like, man, now it's too late. Like, I can't go, like, we're in a spot now where it's like, we have to get bigger or it's going to crush me, because it's big, but it's not
Mhm.
quite big enough, if that makes sense. Like, and so we've got to keep pushing. And that's fine. That's the choice that I made. I'm content with it. I'm like, but if you're watching and you're making six figures in your house with no overhead, with no like real risk other than product, I almost would say, like, to stay there. Like, don't, unless like you're prepared to double down. Like, you have a really unique opportunity to make six figures, to take that money out of your business every month and reinvest it somewhere else. And you brought up my yard cutting, and guy didn't cut the yard. Like, we have, 30 properties, and we pay some of them, we're responsible for the yards. The yard guy didn't show up. One of them for our store. So like, we have the bin store going, customers are going to come in, and the weeds are like 2 foot tall. It looks like shit. Like, that's the only way. It looked so bad. I was embarrassed that people were lining up. I got to cut the grass,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you guys have the same problem down there, but I have had a terrible problem with staffing. I've got a couple really, really strong staff members, and we've struggled for a long time to get a really good team together, not only in the office, because the warehouse is just as important as the back end, right? Like, people want to look down on warehouse workers, but without those guys loading trucks and coming in on time, doesn't matter what I sell if it can't get loaded. But it has been a difficult task getting people to work, like just getting them to come in, and then when they come in, keeping them motivated to keep doing the jobs. I don't know, and it's all around. It's not just warehouse stuff. It's lawn care people. Like, that's your company. You promised me that you'd come cut my grass, and you're not doing it. So I don't know. You mentioned the wall. Like, we have the same problem with contractors. Like, you're doing either subpar work or you're just not showing up when you say you will. So I don't know if you're having any of those problems or if
Yeah.
life's perfect.
No, no, life is not. Now, so I will say this, my core staff has always been great. I bought a flea market a year or two ago and I did not want it. This sweet little lady who's a customer of mine, she's like, hey, she's got cancer. I mean, just a sad story. And I'm like, man. And then I went in there and looked. I was like, man, we could turn this into an auction house. I could probably get it cheap. Well, anyway, the lady was renting it, and the lady that owned it wouldn't let her out of release. Just a real hateful situation. And so I bought it, and it was like I think it's like 130, 120 grand, something like that. And I ended up. So what I'm doing is I'm like buying properties, and I'm using those properties to buy other properties. It's a
Mhm.
whole lot easier to do that. So we were going to just turn it. It's like a 3,000 square foot building, but it's road frontage right on the U.S. Highway 45 that goes from basically Chicago down to the beach, you know. So it's like it's a well traveled spot. And I was like, man, it's prime real estate. But I got a lady. It just so happened the same time a lady from my last church was like, hey, you need to find me a job. She used to work for me,
Okay.
and I was like, hey, you want to run a flea market? And she's like, yeah. So she's been doing this for 2 years. I go and I write checks once a month. I mean, it doesn't generate a ton of money, but it does pay the bills and everything. So I've got a good core. My problem is, like you said, those ones that like I got a trailer park sitting right now. I've got like 4 or 5 trailers on it. I've got 4 or 5 trailers that need to be repaired. And I have had like 4 guys come out, quote me a job, let's get to work, and they never show up. So I don't know what the answer to that is, you know, and we're steadily churning out this, hey, you got to go to college, you got to go to college. So these kids that are coming out of school, they're not learning any trades. They're just, you know, they're thinking they can sit behind a computer and make thousands and thousands of dollars by posting content. And I don't know. I don't know where we're heading to. But the workers, man, it's almost like, man, I'd rather pay them guys more than the people that sit in my offices. So I don't know where that's at. I think it's everywhere. I think Chick-fil-A is probably the only one that's got it figured out. But you know, you can pay them as much as you want. It's not a money thing. It's just an
No.
ethics thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know
It's
what that.
definitely not a money thing. I mean, they would always be appreciative of more money, but like, I don't think the money, I could offer the same job at 25 and I'm gonna have the same group of guys come in, do a crappy job, and complain they're not making enough. You know, like, no, the contractor thing is such a real issue because I'm like, that is also like, we're constrained by other people. If I could duplicate myself, I would be like so much farther. But to build anything big, you need other people, and that's our biggest constraint is other people. Like I said, we bought an apartment building, you know, last October, November, and it should have been a 4 month project, and I'm just now able to rent the units out. And I had 4 or 5 different contractors by the end of this thing where I want to give you 12 units to renovate. Like, this is a decent sized project. This is not small money. I'm not asking you to change a toilet. I'm asking you to, you know, do this. And, you know, I don't understand. I really don't like the amount of time it takes for, like, to be dragged out, or some guys just do like really crappy work and they still want to get paid. And then it's such a frustrating thing. But moving outside of liquidation for a second, getting a little bit more into the real estate side, break it down, you know, what does your real estate look like? I know you've mentioned Airbnbs. We own the warehouse. It sounds like what does that look like? And then, you know, what is your vision for the next couple of years on how you want to grow that, if at all?
Yeah. So, okay, we purchased our building that we're at in. I think we've been there for 5 years now. And at the time, it's my biggest purchase. I was scared to death. I was like, man, how am I ever going to pay a $1,200 note on a building? And so we're still clicking along with that. And I didn't really want to I've always wanted to be a landlord. Like I've always wanted a trailer park for some reason. My wife's like, you're crazy. And I'm thinking, man, all these people just paying you money to live there. It's gotta be the life. Well, dude, I do estate auctions every once in a while, not a bunch, because
Mhm.
it just is what it is. So I had a lady call me one day, Mike, I got a house. And I don't know if you do this, but I want to sell you this house. And I was like, okay. So I go and I look at this house. It's a brick house. I mean, it's got good bones. I mean, it could be done. And I'm like, okay. The part of town wasn't like the best part, but it wasn't the worst part of town. In Meridian, you're either in a really good spot or a really bad spot. It's either rich or poor. There's the middle class is very, very, there is a middle class, but in the city of Meridian, it's either the ghetto or the old rich white people. It's just like,
Okay.
that's just what it is. It's old money, what they call it. So it was like right behind the hospitals, a decent location. I go in, I check it out. I was like, man, we could paint the walls, throw some flooring down, do some electrical. So I called her back and I was like, look, I'm not that guy. Like, if you're looking for somebody, I don't do real estate. I'd like to. I offered 5 grand. And she's like, I'll think about it. He called me back like 4 days later and she's like, you still offering $5,000? I was like, yeah, yes. And my wife's like, what are you talking about? And I said, I guess we just accidentally bought a house. So it's a brick house. You saw it because it's the one that you messaged me about that I had on.
Yeah.
And dude, we went in and I mean, I spent a few thousand, probably 10 or 12,000 on it, but liquidation, dude. The flooring was from liquidation. The sinks were from liquidation. Everything that I got was from truckloads that I had bought in the past. So, I had some paint done, and anyway, ended up selling that house for 55 grand. And I'm like, bro, like this is a thing here. So, man, I'm working all day, every day in liquidation. And what we're doing is I'll tell everybody, if you work it like a full-time job, it'll pay you like a full-time job. But if you start slacking, it'll start slacking as well. So it might not slack this week or next week. You can take a couple weeks off and not feel it, but it'll start doing it eventually. You got to keep feeding the beast. So the real estate thing, it's going to feed you regardless. Like, you can be sitting on the beach somewhere and that thing's still paying you money. So I was debating on whether to sell it or flip it, so I flipped the house, and then I turned that into the flea market that I bought. And then I turned that into the trailer park. And then I bought an old home that I used to live in when I was a kid. Like I picked it up for like 15 grand, dude, in a great part of town. And I said, I'm gonna turn it into an Airbnb. And everybody's like, you're crazy. You have lost your mind. Meridian, Mississippi does not need an Airbnb. And I was like, I'm going to do it. Now, it took me a while to get it right and do everything. I probably had the house for 8 or 9 months, maybe even a year before we even put it on Airbnb. But I put it on Airbnb, I think last February, and I've not had one single weekend that has not been booked. I mean, and this is a house that I might rent out for like $750 a month if it was a long-term rental.
Yeah.
And it's bringing me like, $3,000-$4,000 a month. And I'm like, the upfront cost is big. You got to put your TVs and your beds and your couches and all that. But man, it's so far it's been beneficial. And then I had another house, and a buddy of mine, or a guy that used to work for me. He came to us. I love this dude, man. He came to us. He was living in his van. And normally I just like, man, get out of here. We don't need, we don't need, cause we deal with a lot of money and a lot of stuff. And I don't want something to come off missing, but just something stuck out about this dude, man. He started working for me. He went from living in a van. He was going to work at like FedEx in the morning. He would cut a grass between then and coming to work for me. He'd work for me till like 5, and then he'd go cut grass. I mean, this dude, he was trying to do better.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, progressed a couple years into, him working for me. I ended up seeing a house for sale, like 30 grand. I bought it to put him in, and I rented it to him, at like $600 a month. He ended up getting like custody of his kid. I mean, just doing really good. Like the things that we want, that we're in this business to do, is like help other people. And, so I turned that house into an Airbnb, and like we've got this data center coming into town and all this stuff. So my Airbnbs have been stacked. My trailer park it's been okay. It's not like knocking down big numbers. It's because I got trailers that I can't get fixed. So right now we've got just a few properties. It's nothing big, but it's sustaining me. And I'm kind of doing like you're doing. I'm trying to make that pivot I'm not getting away from liquidation. I love it. I love what I do. And it's not that I love like, fighting with truck drivers and, getting stuff, but I like seeing people. Like I spent 2 hours yesterday just talking to a cat that spent $300 with me, but he's building a business. And, that 3 hours or 2 hours that we spent talking, man, I like seeing those small guys that are, like you said, they're just getting into it. People are trying to take advantage of them, and I'm trying to give them like actual good guidance and to grow their business. And hey, if you're out hustling at these flea markets, I don't have to do it. You're just coming to get the merchandise from me and taking it to them. So that's where we're at. I'm not going to go totally real estate, but dude, real estate is definitely looking good on us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I encourage people. We started, I bought my first house at 18. Our area is different. Our first house was $89,000. And it was one of those deals we'd saved up just enough for an old man. I mean, this old man, he just passed away last year, but he went everywhere in his coveralls, right? And that's all he had. There was no shirt. His outfit was a pair of coveralls, and he had his cigar. I've never seen the guy lit the cigar, but he just chewed it all day. It was $89,000, and we put 20% down, and it was a 30-year note with no interest. It cost me $250 a month, and that's what it still is. And I write the check. Well, I used to write the check to him. Now it's to his trust, but I write a $3,000 check every January. I say, thanks, I'll see you next year. And we rent the house out for $2,500 a month now. But I encourage people to start as soon as you can, because we started at 18 with the first one. Now we're up to 30 properties, 40 individual doors. And the real estate, I mean, we could quit tomorrow, and I'd be more comfortable than majority of people, out there. It's a blessing. It's a spot where it's put us in where I look at our liquidation business differently because I don't stress about the deals anymore. If I get a good deal, great, I'm taking it. We're running with this. But I don't make as rash of decisions anymore. This deal either works for me or it doesn't work for me, and it's all because if I didn't work tomorrow, I wouldn't notice. Like, and that's what the real estate's done for us. And I know other people, don't want to do real estate. It's a lot. It is work. It is not. I was hoping it would be sitting on the beach and just get that check every month. And listen, the check on the first is great. I look forward to the first because I get the money, but there's still headaches. There's still tenant evictions. I mean, we have a couple Airbnbs too. And I shit you not, like our cleaner gives me a call one morning. It's a flip, right? So the guest had just checked out. Between the guest checking out at 10:30 and the cleaner getting there at 11, the ceiling in the living room fell. Like it just fell. There was no rain, there was no leak. Like it just fell. I guess when they built, we didn't replace the ceiling. When they built the house, they used nails is the only thing anybody could tell me. And just over time, it just sagged and came down, and literally on the couch, drywall and insulation everywhere. You're gonna get those phone calls. It's not something where it's going to be 100%. You get to not be involved. But for us, at least, I don't understand, and I wish I did a little bit more. The cryptocurrencies, and I understand it to an extent, not enough. Like I tell people all the time, if I post that I buy Bitcoin or I buy stock, hold off a couple days because it's about to get really cheap. Yeah. Like that's my luck with it. Real estate, I think it meshes with a lot of liquidation people. Like we can see it, we can hold it, we can touch it. Like for me, I need that. Like I can drive by and go, that's, I did that. I own that. That is where my money is. And then, yeah, we get to benefit from the fact that we source this stuff really cheap, and we get to save thousands. Not only do we get to save thousands of dollars on the materials, but we get to put materials in houses for people that will rent it that they wouldn't get otherwise, right? Like we have the apartments will be Section 8, but I sourced these Kohler vanities, and they're $900 vanities. I paid $40. Like those would have never gone in there because it's Section 8 housing. That should be a $200 vanity at best. But I sourced it cheaper. I sourced $1,000 vanity cheaper than I could buy a cheap one at Lowe's. So that's what went in that house. And I don't know. People like when they live somewhere, like I don't want to be the slumlord. I want to be proud. Like when you move in somewhere, like my name's on that building. So like that's my name, and I want you to be proud to live in it and want to invite people over. So it's really a unique thing we get to do with liquidation because like we get to put nicer flooring in than I think most people would, nicer appliances, nicer everything. That was different. I put a thumbs up and it did that. That's new, but I wonder if no, it didn't do it.
Just you.
It just for me.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's something that I've always done. Like I say a trailer park. I mean, it's I'm very cautious of who I put in there and who, I want to be able to, when I lay my head down at night, I don't want to get any phone calls, obviously, but I want to make sure like that they know that my heart is in this. Like, it's not just, hey, I need my money on the first. Like, I want to make sure that they've got, like, I put a mini split in a trailer because the dude, he's got like 3 kids or 2 kids. I don't know. He's got a bunch of kids. His wife's pregnant, and I rented him that trailer with a central heat and air unit, and it just wasn't keeping up. So it's all about taking care of people, and I put a video up about it. And if you take care of these people, they're going to take care of you 100%. I mean, I could throw a bunch of tin can trailers up there and obviously get a couple $100 a month out of them, but I don't want the, obviously don't want them living better than me, but I mean, I want them to be proud of where they live at. And that when you take pride in something, you don't tear it up. You're gonna take care of it. So, and then you're talking about their ceiling falling in. We had a checkout. I think they checked out Sunday in this little house called the Mimosa Cottage, but the wall was starting to kind of warp. And I was like, let's check it out. So I blocked off like Sunday, Monday. We were gonna just pull it off. It was like paneling. I'm sure it just kind of got a little moisture. We pulled it off. There's mold.
Oh my God.
There's a hole in the floor. I guess they had just added on. So there's like hot air blowing up, and my air conditioner is blowing right at it. So man, we ended up having we went through and had the mold kill everything, and the more wall we're tearing, the more we're seeing. So I blocked it off for the whole week this week because I've got someone checking in Friday, and I'm like, man, this, it's like you said, it's the cause that you don't understand. It looks good from the outside. I'm going to post my highlight reel, But man, you don't see, the house that I bought, and I was like, man, I'm gonna rock and roll this, and then you get your carpenter over there, and he's like, man, this thing's got termites all in it. Why'd you buy this house? And I'm like, well, it was a good deal, So, obviously, I know liquidation, but I don't know building stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. But now that my mimosa cottage is shut down for a week, now I can upgrade the sinks. I can upgrade because you're paying $150-$200 a night for a cottage
Mhm.
in Meridian, Mississippi. I want the nice things in there. I
Yeah,
want you to come in, but man, that's a cool thing right there. So you kind of got to take a step back and do those things, but also take advantage of your time. While you've got that blocked off. So, but yeah, dude, I'm 100% on board with, man, take care of your people because that's who's taking care of you.
for sure. No, you got to take care of them. You also, and something we've been doing this for 12 years, and I've had one eviction in 12 years. And this, whatever mirror I broke, I must have broke it earlier this year. I just had a string of bad luck between like stuff. I mean, it's just one of those years where ACs are going down, and we've had, I think 7 evictions. Now, 3 of them were mostly just like to do it right. Like one guy had died, or we thought he died. He was in the hospital. Like he was not coming back. He was not paying. Unfortunately, sorry. After 2 months, I got to start the process. I care to a certain extent until we are being affected negatively, and they're like, fine, whatever, we'll move, but they didn't move. So we had to, even though they said they were moving, we had to go through the process. One lady just literally, she left one day. She said, I'm going to nursing home. And I was like, okay, well, can you sign this that states like never heard back? So then that's
Yeah.
the process. One guy, one lady just, they weren't paying. And I mean, it's been a year of that. And it's been a year of like, we try, so we have, we've got Airbnbs, we've got multifamily homes, we've got, traditional like long-term residential properties, and we've got a lot of commercial. And I try to diversify because I'm all about like, well, what if this happens? I want a safety net. I don't want to be too heavy in any one thing. So we have a lot. And, right now we're heaviest in commercial, and we're heaviest in these like, they're, between 5,000 and 10,000 square feet, but they're multi-unit. And I like them because they're inexpensive for people. Anybody with like a lawn care business up to like, whatnot sellers can use them. But it's a fine line between, wanting to help these people and then protecting yourself. Cause it's, I'm always down to work with people on their rent. The first for a lot of people is very difficult because every bill you have, for whatever reason, I don't know who decided this like rule, is due on the first of the month. And so if I notice a tenant is struggling and is late every month, we usually go to them. I have a few calls to make today. Hey, you've been late for 3 months. Why don't we look at maybe doing half on the first and half on the 15th, or the whole thing on the 15th? I could care less when your rent date is, as long as it's consistent every month. Now, also don't take advantage of me in my like kindness and willingness to help, because they will do that. Well, I had a text while I was trying to figure out the software here, and I had a tenant, and he was late last month with a promise to pay today. It was his like, listen, I just got a new job. I get paid on the 14th. We can pay on the 19th. I get a call today or text this morning, hey, I was in jail over the weekend. I had to pay $2,000 to bond myself out. Can I have some more time? I'm like, man, I appreciate your situation, but don't let your like negative decisions affect me. Like that's, now I have to be the asshole and go, no, today was the day. The next thing you'll get is a pay rent or quit letter. And then we have to start the process, because I don't know how the eviction process is down there, but it is a task here. There's a lot of steps. There's a lot of wait. There's no set time. It's like whenever the court decides, like they can send somebody out to serve. And then like by the time we get them served, it's a month before we get a court date. Like it's a 2-month process before we get in front of a judge.
Yeah.
And so, you gotta be cautious as much as you want to help these people. Like there's bills. I pay the bill. If a lot of it, thankfully, we have paid for, but the stuff we have mortgages on, I got to pay that mortgage, whether you pay your rent or not. Otherwise, you're kicked out and I lose a house. Like,
Yeah.
so
And
go
I
ahead.
think that's a fine line with us, man, because like, I'm a Christian, I'm a youth pastor, and that's the first thing people throw up in your face. Well, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that, but I got to feed my family. I'm
Yeah.
not. I don't want to get out on you. When we had this conversation, when you rented this place from me, and I was a kind enough guy to even lower the rent $100 a month, And now the first month that comes around, you're late. I mean, we got a problem. I mean, right now in this trailer park in the very back is a trailer that does not belong to me. It's on my property. She was renting the land from the dude that I bought it from, and it's just sitting back there. It's an eyesore. I wouldn't let anybody live in this trailer, and I'll keep calling. Hey, what are your plans? Well,
Yeah.
you know, we're trying to figure it out. We've been trying to figure it out since February. I mean, at what point do you have to just cut ties? And I tell you another thing that kind of helped me because, like I said, I'm not saying I don't like confrontation, but I'd rather somebody else handle it for me. I've got a property manager. So when I bought the trailer park, which this is my only long term rental, is these now. And I love you said multi units. That's what got me into the trailer park or the apartment
Hmm.
because you got one tax bill, you got one insurance, and then everything else is all you got one bill and you're getting multiple incomes.
Hmm.
But I've got a property manager, and this woman she's a pit bull, man. She'll go
Hmm.
after. But now when I bought it, the trailer park was probably generating $3,500 a month. She gets her 10%, and my note's $900 a month on it. So I mean, it was making money the day I
Yeah.
signed the bill. So I kept that going. I've got one family that I brought in myself and that I'm handling.
Hmm.
But it's constantly, hey, we got this, we got that, And I'm the kind of guy like I had one guy we had to go up on his rent. He was renting a 2-bedroom apartment that's on this trailer park. He was renting for $650 a month. He's been there for 5 years, paying $650, and the apartment right next door is $850 a month. And I'm like, we got to go up to $850. So I tell my manager. She tells him, he's like, well, why has it got to go up so high? I'm like, there's no
Right.
$650 a month. 5 years ago, yeah, or six, whatever it was, pre-COVID. So they paid it. The next month, he couldn't come up with it. He was a little late. No. He was gonna pay it. The right when the increase come, he had to switch jobs and stuff. So she's like, he's gonna pay you, next week or something. So I was like, he's gonna pay the $650 that he owes me already. Then he's gonna pay me the $850 that it's increasing all at one time and with a new job. She's like, yeah. I called him up. I was like, dude, what's going on? He's like, man, I'm in between jobs. I've got a new job. I'm going to get it. I'm just struggling. I said, listen, dude, don't worry about the 650. I'll eat this month. Let's start fresh on the 850, but this isn't going to be an ongoing thing, So I'm like you, as long as we're consistent and
Yeah.
we get that rent every month, and I'm not going to call every one of my tenants and say, hey, I'm going to take care of your rent this month, but I get it. People get into situations, and if you've been in the same place for 5 years, I'm trying to hold on to you, dude. Like you've paid for that place, I'm sure. But so if you're a good tenant, and you've got good people, man, you got to take care of those people. And
Yeah.
sometimes it might be helping them out on something. And that's not everybody's cup of tea. But if I can give up $650 to maybe keep them there another year or so, it's
Yeah.
worth it to me.
No, I agree. I think, you got to make those decisions. And, we're still at a level, even with 40, we've got someone in house that handles all of that. And there's still, we have a standard operating practice for it, right? This is how it gets handled. And because if everybody's the exception, then there's no rule, right?
Mhm.
But there's still the exception because we're still it's big. It's 40 people is a lot of people,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
To put up with. And it's like I don't know everybody's story, but I know a lot of them. And so like I have empathy for people, but I am trying to get it to a place where I don't have to it sounds harsh, but like it needs to get big enough to where there is that wall. Like this is a business transaction at the end of the day. When we signed, I have responsibilities and you have responsibilities. And as long as I uphold mine and we do, when an issue comes up, we usually unless it's like minor, we're usually 24, 48 hours we have it fixed for you. And you can expect that. And so at the end of the day, on the first, and we give you till the fifth, I expect you to come up with your side of the deal. And that should be that. At the end of the day, I have my own friends. I've got my family. I have my people. I don't need you or your people. And my job is to give you a nice place to live. And I would love, I do feel for it's tough. We recently had to cut ties. We rented one of our buildings to a church of all businesses, and they've been there for 5 years. They almost paid for the building, and they had every year it seemed like there'd be one month they couldn't make it. We okay, well we'll catch up, and now 3 months, and I'm like, how can we resolve this? I was like, well, maybe you can ask your congregation who has some skills. Maybe we can do some work in lieu of the back rent and see if we can't get that caught up in order to move forward. Right. So I try to get really creative with people, and it just, as much as it sucks, because, I'm a Christian also. I'm not big on the church. I've had I've had too many negative experiences with the church as a whole, so I believe the relationship with Christ and God is what matters. The church is great if it's done right. And I know a lot of people have great experience with church, and I know you do. Mine just hasn't been. But even with all that, the church, at the end of the day, it still has to operate as a business. And
Yeah.
if you're not going to be financially responsible, like that is, we've had a couple big churches in our area, they've had to close down because of that. I mean, like big ones. And when they closed, it came out like you're not being financially responsible. And that's part of your job, I guess, as a shepherd or whatever. Like, you are responsible for this. And as much as we wanted to hang on to them, like, I cannot fund your business no matter what your business is. So it's a
And
tough one.
we get it all the time, dude. It like we'll have, people come to me. I did a video because these people will come out of the woodworks. Hey, can you donate to this? Can you
Mhm.
help with
I
this? And
saw like the sponsorships.
I love helping people, but I can't help everybody. One of the greatest things that we did, like I said, is put a property manager in between me and my
Yeah.
tenants. I have more problems, and I say problems, I don't have a lot, but I have more complaints, issues. I'm more hands-on with that one unit in that trailer park than I am with the other five, because she's a buffer. And I love helping people. I love being there for people, but I can't answer my phone every time there's something small goes on, you know, and it's something that's just it's not really that big a deal. So she handles that and she's excellent at it. And it has given me a chance to kind of step back. And it's the business that anybody wants. You collect a check,
Yeah.
you put a little bit of work into it, but that's it. And I didn't own a trailer park. I didn't own rentals to be up there all the time. And every time you need to change a light bulb. I mean, so definitely that wall, I don't care what you say. It helps you and your family,
Yeah.
take care of, maintain your peace. And then it also gives that person a point of contact where they can, hey, this is your job to answer all these questions.
Yeah.
And they can, I might be busy. I might not be able to take that call. I don't want you to ever feel like that you're not important to me. So I'm going to put somebody in that position that's their main goal, is to service you and to make sure that's there. And then, as far as the churches go, dude, I get it, man. Like you're biblically responsible to financially take care of the people and the building that you're in. So, but you got so many times, and even in the liquidation business, people call churches these donation loads, like you guys talked about last week.
Yeah.
Man, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a load, and I remember I received a Coke load. It was from somebody sold me a Coke load. I think it was off the liquidation site on Facebook. It was a killer deal, and I bought it. I brought it in. It was like 30 pallets of Coke and like double stack. Like,
Yeah.
dude got a ticket on the way in, and it was spiced Coke, and I don't remember what I paid for it, but it was cheap, man. We're selling 12 packs for $1 and making money. And so Meridian Coca-Cola calls me and they're like, hey, we need to talk. And I'm like, you don't need to talk to me. This is mine. I paid for it. I got
Yeah.
receipts. And they're wanting to know because it was a Birmingham load. It should have come over here. So I don't know. Like that stuff, like I don't fool with that, man. Like if it's you let me know what's going on with this stuff. And
Yeah.
right now I got a lady down in Alabama. She's wanting to sell me donated, like I guess it's donated Amazon. And it looks like I guess FCP or whatever. But
Yeah.
she said sometimes they come in their 6-foot pallets, sometimes they're 8. But she runs a charity, man, and there's so many people hiding behind the church, and dude, there's so much corruption going on in the church because, like you said, they want something, and all they got to do is just throw that out there that they're a church, and they get stuff for free, and they do all this, and man, it's not biblical, it's not, if anything. Yeah, people come in all the time. Hey, my church, can I buy this for my church? And I'll try to help them out. Don't get me wrong. But I told a lady the other day, I was like, "Did they not tithe at your church? Does your church not give? Do they don't give y'all money every Sunday?" Oh yeah, we do good. And I'm like, well, wouldn't it be biblical? Wouldn't it be biblical for you to pay me the proper amount that this is worth so I can feed my family and stuff. And she just kind of looked at me crazy. So, I'm a youth pastor, and I promise you, like, I love my church. We have a great church. We have a great congregation. And I know people's been hurt by the church. I've been hurt by the church. But, man, I'm going to be honest. Like, there's a lot of people hiding behind the church and using that for their personal gain. And that's, man, it's sickening. It really is. So,
It definitely
yeah,
like
and not
hurts
just
the
the church,
whole
charities.
overall, like one bad apple can do more damage than 10 good ones. And it's such a sad thing because like try to defend, your faith, and like people throw this, I mean, like we hear so much stuff in the news, and it's like I want to defend, but I read about, forget what book, but it's like if Jesus came back today, he wouldn't be a Christian, and
Heard
it's the
that.
truth. Like what it is today is not like, it's not what it's supposed to be, and the donation thing is so funny. I have a hard and fast rule. We donate, we help people. One of my things, I love to help people when I know I'm helping somebody. But I'm sure you get the comments too. You should donate that to.
Oh yeah.
I have a hard and fast rule, and I've never been called out on it. I've been waiting, but I've always told people, if we have shoes, we got told you should donate those 1,000 pairs of shoes. I said, listen, whatever you buy from me, I will match as a donation, and we'll donate together. And I've said that for 10 years, and not a single person has ever put their money where their mouth is, and taking me up on it. But it's always a thing. If you see something that I have that you want to donate, you tell me, and we'll donate it together. You buy it, you buy half, I'll donate the other half. Just don't tell me where to put my money. That's a big pet peeve. Like, it's my money. I worked hard for it. I'm happy to do what I want with it. I love to help people, and sometimes money's not the thing that helps people. They really need something different.
Yeah. We get it all the time, man. Well, you should donate this. Well, how about I sell it to you at my cost? And they're like, well, what, I guess they think that we're just making millions and millions of dollars for profit, and that we can just do it. And moving merchandise doesn't always mean you're making a ton of money. I can't tell you how many times I've lost money just to get.
Get it
Man,
gone.
you hit the nail on the head the other day when you said that that's crap sitting in your warehouse is costing you, money because you find the great load, and you can't even buy a good load. So we've been flushing stuff, man, and that's it, man. Just, but people all the time, you should donate. Why? I mean, I should, but if I donated everything I had,
I'd
I'd
be
be
asking for donations. I'd be
yeah,
in the opposite spot.
yeah.
No, it's
So
fine. And no, you're right with the inventory, man. Like, don't sit on stuff. People like, this 1,000 pallet liquidation we're doing. Like, this guy he didn't throw stuff away. And I'm like, buddy, he's got outside of the pallets. There's a yard of scrap lawnmowers. And I'm like, first thing we're doing is we're getting some guys in here with dump trailers. We're taking this stuff to the scrap yard. We'll get some money for it, and we'll actually have some places to work. But we're coming up on our hour, and one section that I didn't get to yet is your content. And I want to know what made you get on TikTok. Do you have plans to monetize? Are you monetized? I don't know. You're close to 10,000 on TikTok, or do you have any plans besides just being Mike Rice with Mike Rice Auction House in Meridian, Mississippi?
So, dude, I would love to just do content creation. I love it. I love it. I wished, and I'll jump on there. We are monetized on Facebook, and I just hit 10,000 on TikTok, and I'm Instagram slacking. So I've been trying to post more on YouTube. I've been just, posting across. I just fell into it on accident, man.
Mhm.
Honestly, I post deals, and that's my way to get it out there. I had a guy, he's got like a news thing in Meridian, and he'll just go around, like, if something's going on, he'll just be out there with a camera, and I'm like, huh. So he was charging me like $400 a month to advertise on his page, and I was like, well, crap, man, I could just put that into my social media. So I kind of fell into it on accident. I was just doing it as advertisement, and now, like, we're leaning into a couple more funnier videos, just trying to get people hooked. I don't think, I'd love for a video to go viral or nothing, but I've never like made a ton. I'm making $400 or $500 a month on a decent month from Facebook, and so we're trying to go more monetized. But
Yeah.
I think the harder I try, the worse it is. Like,
Yeah.
if I just get out there and show my deals and just do me, I get thousands and thousands of views. If I'm out there, like, if I put time into create a video and all this, it flops, dude. And it's like crap. So I'm gonna just let it do its thing, like I've always done. I've never like set out to say, hey, I'm gonna be this content creator. I'd love to. It'd be great, but I know liquidation and I know how to, I know wholesale, and that's what I'm sticking to. So now if it like, when I was working the job and the wholesale retail stuff kind of outgrew that, I jumped to that. So now if that ever gets bigger than where I'm at now, dude, I'll do it in a heartbeat. But right now, it's just a way, instead of me pumping money into a local advertisement or something like that, my local advertising is local ball teams and Facebook. And I don't pay for, I guess you could pay Facebook to blast it out there. I don't do that,
Okay.
but I do. Then I just get on there and I just run the camera. I might do a giveaway or something. Hey, we're going to give away $100 in store credit if you share. That does really well for us. I mean, if somebody thinks they're going to get $100 by hitting the share button, and we actually give it away, I get more traction from stuff like that. So, I don't really understand how the Facebook thing. I mean, how the Facebook thing worked. It just did, and it was just something. I'll tell you this, it's just like Whatnot, just like any social media, you've got to build a following. You got to be consistent. You got to keep it going. If you're on vacation this week, throw something out there, ask some questions, just get some engagement. And you just got to, it's like a snowball. You got to keep it rolling or it'll die on you. And we've seen that. We've gone from 4 or 5 million views in a month down to like 270 because I was out. We went on a cruise a couple weeks ago, and like I didn't post any content. I was on vacation, and when I didn't post content, it just kind of died out. So I think this month's check was only like $270, but it's not a ton of money, but it's money and it's fun, and it gets me in front of people that never would dream about it. I get people all the time either driving, because we're on that I-20 corridor, from Texas to Atlanta, right there on I-20, and I get people stopping. Hey, we're coming from Texas. I just wanted to meet you, and I'm like, bro, you drove from Texas? You like I get it, you're going through this town, but you stopped in just to see me?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? So I love it, dude. I'll give somebody a t-shirt, that come in the shop, and I just, I got this little fan club, and it's like, I probably won't ever be anything else, so, but I love it. It's fun. It's engaging, and it's growing my business. So it's great. Like I said, I wish I knew of the magic potion, but I just got on Facebook one day and showed something that I had for sale, and somebody shared it because it was a good deal, and they're like, keep it going. So, but that's where we're at now. I would love to be making millions, but it's just a way to get my face out there and get my products out there.
Yeah, no, you're making money advertising your stuff versus a lot of us, we're paying money to Facebook to advertise our product for us. So, the fact that you're even making $500 a month, you're making $500 a month for posting things from your phone. You're not like, you're just operating your business on a daily basis, and you're making videos. And I think that's, the power of social media. We're not quite monetized yet. We got monetized on one of our business pages. And it's so funny to me, like, cause I'll look at the insights, and I made $1 on that post. And I'm like, I don't think I would pick up $1. Like, if $1 on the ground, I would probably debate picking it up. But it's so fun to me. Like, there's $1. I don't even know where the money goes, or if I've ever actually physically seen the money, but they say if you can post every day for 90 days, that is the threshold of like making it. Like, if you can get through that 90 day point, 'cause it's brutal and you feel like an idiot, like in the beginning, like, because it's usually just your friends and family at first, and they're looking at you like, what are you doing? You're not. And I'm not sitting here trying to be the most viral liquidation TikToker. Our goal with content is to educate people on liquidation. I think reselling is something that anybody can get into, and there's no barrier to entry. I loved what you said early on. You used to drive around and get like the curb alerts, and I always encourage people. I'm like, there is free stuff out there. Let's get that money. But I think liquidation is the biggest, the fastest, fastest way to go when it comes to reselling. It's the most consistent way to get product at a low cost. And then outside of that, let's keep building on top of this. And that's the point of my content. When we first got started selling pallets, it's my ex-wife now, but what we told people is, we wanted to help other people quit their 9-to-5, and we were able to do, work for ourselves through pallets. And that was our mission. That was our purpose. And from then to now, I've like lost that, I guess. Like I felt like earlier this year, like, yes, we're making a lot of money and it's great and it's all great for us. But I'm like, I used to feel something different when I came into work. And I realized that's what it was. I was making money, but I was helping other people make money. And that made it a little bit better. It made it more fun and enjoyable. I'm like, how can I do that again? And I think with content, there's so much misinformation out there, scams out there, people trying to tell you this is a get rich quick industry and it's not. And so, our goal is just to build an educational platform where we can share our experiences and share our struggles and hopefully save some people what I call stupid tax from the mistakes that I've made in the past. If I can save you any of those mistakes, then I'll have felt like this is successful.
Yeah, and I see a lot of, especially in my part of it, we don't, like I said, we don't do a lot of truckloads, but I deal with a lot of guys that are just getting into the business, a lot of flea market guys. And man, these like the wholesale people, man, they'll just tell you anything, man, and they'll sell it to you. And I'll tell people, until we get to doing business good, if I give you this item, I say, man, this is a home run, Zach. This is going to do good. And you take it and it doesn't, I'm going to buy it back from you. That's the kind of person I am. Now, and I'm also honest enough to say, man, this hadn't done real well for us, So I think being honest with people in a business where there's so much dishonesty, it goes a long way. So you're showing, I mean, and you obviously you're not in the trenches of what you're showing. Obviously, we're not going to just give away all of our secrets, but I mean, you're showing people what worked for you a year or two ago, and they're able to kind of catch on. And that's something that not everybody's doing because it's such a hush hush, or it was. Now, I mean, there's a lot of content and information that's out there, but it's such a hush hush, thing now. And I remember years ago, or maybe just a year ago, I was like, man, if I could just be a contract holder, and then listen to you and Mike talk, I was like, I'm glad I'm not a contract holder, like I don't want no part of that, So I was talking to a dude at my dealer sale Thursday, and he was like, I was like, man, because he's trying to find a build and he's just in that spot. I was like, dude, stay in the truck and trailer as long as you can. Because if I could right now, me and my wife would sell everything we had. We'd get a motorhome with a trailer and we just hit these little local auctions and we just live life, But at the point that we're buying right now, you got to buy big to get the deal. And you're not going to do that out of a truck and trailer. So, stay small as long as you can and then grow when you have to. But, I think people like me and you that are actually, we're being real, yeah, you can make a lot of money in it, but you've also got to put the work in it. And this is how I've done it. It might work for you. It might not. But there's a lot of crooks in this business and you gotta, I'm not going to sit there and say this person is this and this person's that, but you've got to, these are the signs you need to look for, and if it, like you said, if it can help one person, because a lot of these guys, I think this is something you said years ago, if I had $2,000, what would I invest? What truckload would I buy? I wouldn't buy a truckload if all I had was 2,000. So, I want your money. I want your business, but I'm not going to click with every single person out there. And maybe my business isn't right for you. And if you're not you're not out there trying to buy from every single, person that you can to find the best deals, you're not going to make it. So, I think transparency and honesty go a long way. And that's what keep people coming back to me because they know I'm going to shoot them straight. Hey, Mike might not be the plug on this item, but he is on this, and I know he's going to shoot me straight. So I might pay 50 cents more on this item just because I know he's going to, be real with me. So that's what it's always been about.
Yeah. No, we said, well, I think on our first podcast, I said, you want to look for an educator, not a broker. When you're buying truckloads, someone that wants to explain to you what this load is and how it will work for your business versus someone who's just trying to make their broker fee and move on. You might pay a little bit more, but if the load's worth, 15,000, it's worth 15,500, like $500,000 either direction on these full liquidation trucks. They don't really make that big of a difference. So,
and they're going to take care of you. I remember I bought a couple of years ago, I bought a Home Depot, what's it called? No, it wasn't a turbo. It was hardware. It was hardware. It was supposed to be a Home Depot hardware load.
Yeah.
It was one of the bigger liquidators on the liquidation page or bigger brokers. I get it in and it's pallets of hinges. It's a whole truckload of door hinges. I find out where it came from. It's someplace over in Georgia that buys Home Depot loads.
Yeah.
They put all their freaking hinges outside because it looks like it'd been sitting outside. And then they called this broker up. They're like, hey, we got a bunch of hinges from Home Depot we need to get rid of. Now, our Home Depot or hinges hardware, they absolutely are. Did he lie to me? He did not. Had it been like you or somebody else, that would shoot me straight, I feel like, this guy was trying to make a quick $100, $500 and move on, and
Yeah.
it, and I've also been blatantly right out lied to from some brokers and said they showed me pictures and then they sold me something totally different, and you think about those, you don't remember every time that you hit a good lick, but you remember every time you've been burned. So
Yeah. And that it's a two-way street there, right? Like, you remember every time you've been burned. You got to remember when you're working with someone you find and they're good to you. If you're good, if you get good trucks 10 times in a row and the 11th one's bad, like the guy didn't screw you. That's liquidation. You're going to get a bad one every once in a while. I think sometimes, because I've lost customers over that.
yeah,
Customers I've been with for 6 months, 12 months, they get a bad load and they go, "You're just here to screw me." And I'm like, you've been telling me how great these trucks are for like 6 months. And then the one that comes in and it's bad. Now I'm the bad guy. That's fine. This relationship is done because I'm not going to fix this because you've won 10 out of 10 times. This is not wholesale. This is liquidation. If you lose on occasion, take your lick and you move on to the next load. And that's all you do. If
yeah.
it's terrible, I got it. I'm going to post a video about this later. I had a customer reach out and he was like, at what point is the as is clause like not valid? I was like, what are you talking about? He said, well, I bought about 4 pallets and it's supposed to be customer returns and I was fine with that, but the pallets are filled with mouse crap and there's dead mice and there's nests. And I'm like, okay, well, that's different to me. Like that is not an item condition. This is caused by a storage condition. And whether it's your supplier or his supplier, like someone should make that right. That is not like it. Now, listen, a little bit of mouse poop in a pallet, please don't call me, but it's infested and it smells and it's unsellable, please call, because like that needs to be one, whose warehouse was it? Because they have a bigger problem they need to fix. And then two, like you shouldn't be dealing with that. So there's limits to what you can take and what you should expect. But like, I'm sorry if 30% of your load was broken on a customer return truck, the odds just didn't pan out for you on that one. I'm not the guy processing the load. Like call Walmart and see if they care.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this a while back. You pay $6,000, $10,000 for a cheap load, and me, a purchaser, buying from somebody like you, we're thinking, oh man, he's making $2,000 or $3,000 on this load, and you're literally making pennies on the dollar. And it's guys, it's guys like I say, guys like me, the end seller. We have all these complaints. I guess because $6,000 is a lot of money to someone who's in the retail business. But I've never lost on a whole truck. I've never had a complete truckload that was just. I might have had one or something, but you just the business. You know what you're in, and you're supposed to be creative enough to be able to sell that type of stuff. So figure it out and quit crying about it and just move on. That's one thing. But now to show something and it be something totally different, I get it. Somebody needs to do something about it. And there's a place I bought from out in Alabama when I was just getting started and bought a couple pallets. Man, they looked good, but they were doctored, dude. I got them home. And we had spent like a great bit of the money that we had. Like we didn't have a lot to go off of. So it was these Dyson vacuum cleaners sticking out, man. And I was like, man, well, they had actually physically took the non-working display model off, threw the things in the bottom, turned totes upside down. I mean, it was very much so doctored. And I was like, man, they'll never get another dime from me. And everybody that I know that's even remotely thinking about going to that place, they'll know about it. So
100%.
it's one thing to get a crappy load. There's crappy loads all over. That's what we do. But it's another thing to get a load that's been like 100% doctored and that it's been shown one way and it's something totally different. So
100%. And I think it's important that people do know, and something we're working on is a list of verified and vetted pallet suppliers that will ship, as well as you can go locally pick up. And that's something we'll give a portion of that list away for free. So as I see that question all the time, where do you buy pallets? And it's like someone, nobody's giving that information away for free. And I understand, like, I get why no one wants to like lose their spot, but and we won't give it all for free, but we'll give you a little sample for free. But with that, I'm over the hour that I've allotted, and I hate to end on any kind of negative about poor suppliers. So to end it off, Mike, we've talked about all the losses. We've talked about how this industry is tough, and you can't get rich quick. But we all have a few stories where we hit a massive lick. So share your most memorable win, and we'll end it there.
And I'm gonna be honest, the COVID lick, and I don't know if I can drop names or nothing, but a buddy of
Please
mine.
do. People are so afraid. Like the point is, I'm at the point with liquidation where I am down to give away my secrets because
Okay,
I have made it. I am going to keep making. There's so much money and inventory in this business. I can't buy it all, right? You
yeah,
can't buy it all. Why are we gatekeeping? Like people
yeah.
can make money. So if you want to name drop, listen,
All
I
right, here
could
it is.
give a crap less. Feel free.
Now I've only bought like 2 or 3 truckloads from this dude, but every time I see this guy, he's good as gold. He's a great dude, and I mean, just has won in life and got a great team. But Anthony Zappatelli,
Okay.
Zapp's Wholesale, that's the one. He called me up. He's like, Mike, he was just, I don't know how big he was at the time. This was 2019. And that, dude, we're literally working out of a flea market. I rented booths and I kind of walled them off. And that was my shop. It was hot. And he caught, hey, we got this load. It was a Staples load. And I bought it. I got it in. First 2 pallets was dented up freaking crap. And then the rest of them was coffee and all, but it was all case packed, not case packed, but it was all thrown. It was good stuff. It was not returns. It was overstock, I guess, shelf pulls. And now we'd sat on it for a few months because it was a lot of stuff to take in. I mean, it was hand sanitizer, Lysol, cleaning stuff, toilet paper, paper towels, just gobs and gobs. Every pallet was bumping the ceiling when we got it off the truck. I was like, man, it's going to take me a year to get through this stuff. And the first few months, I probably bought it in January, February. I don't know when I bought it, but I remember going to Atlanta to pick up a load, and one of the girls from flea market called me. I just stopped my booth, and all she's like, "You need more toilet paper." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "We're out of toilet paper." I said, "I just stopped the booth," and she's like, "No, you don't understand. You need more toilet paper. Like, do you not know what's going on, dude? I got trapped in Atlanta because that's when everything hit the fan.
Yeah.
Gas or diesel had shot up to like $7, $8 a gallon, maybe even 10. It was crazy. Might have been 15. I don't remember. I just knew it was a crazy price. I was scared to death. ASD got canceled that year. That was the first year I was going to go to ASD. So, dude, I get back home and I'm finding out what's going on, and people are just going nuts. And dude, we sold through that truckload and just made bukus of money. That's what threw me over. And then with that money, I found a dude up in like Tupelo, Mississippi that was selling fresh produce, because none of the restaurants were wanting, all the restaurants were shut down. They couldn't get rid of this food. So we were going up there buying pallets of food, pennies on the dollar, man, like just fresh stuff, a whole crate of strawberries for $3. And I was taking them by the pallet. I was bringing them back, man, 16-foot open trailers just loaded down. As soon as we dropped it at the flea market, I was doing a video. People were sharing and they were just coming. And dude, the first year, I mean, we were making $300 or $400 a week at this flea market before COVID. The year after COVID, like when we did our taxes that year, I asked my wife, I said, what do you think we did? She's like, I don't know, like 50,000. We had done like 360 grand out of this flea market booth.
Gosh.
The city tried to shut us down because we were a flea market. I had to walk the city inspector through, showing them, hey, we've got food. It's in a little small community area that's like it's a poor community.
Yeah.
But now everybody was coming and buying because we were the only people open. I was going to Atlanta, picking up the mask. I mean, so that's COVID. Everybody says COVID was tough. COVID either makes you or break you. I mean, it tore up a lot of businesses. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that's still hurting today from the damage that COVID did to their business. But there's also some of us that are so thankful that something like that hit. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for COVID, and it just happened to be that one load that just happened to hit at the right time that kind of spiraled me into other things, and so, man, that was it. That's the load that I'll tell my grandkids about, because we didn't know what we were sitting on, and freaking hand sanitizer wasn't selling, and Lysol, wasn't selling. And then next thing you know, you're getting $14 a can for this industrial can. I mean, and you got the people, you're price gouge and this and that. I'm like, literally scan it on Staples and sell it for what they're selling it for, so.
Yeah.
But it's things like that keep me going. It's it's those stories that I love to hear about. And I love to hear somebody, going from nothing to something. And man, that's my dad asks me all the time. He's like, when are you going to retire? I'm like, man, I love it. I love it too much right now to retire. I'm still, I might go in tomorrow and be like, man, screw this. I'm done. But
There's a lot of days I do that.
yeah, but I love
Now,
it. I love it. It excites me. So I love being able to do stuff like this and connecting and being able to go to ASD and stuff like that, be able to, chat with the people that have kind of helped me along through there. So
are you going to ASD next? It's
now
this.
I've got a big dealer sale that Tuesday, so I'm not going to make
Yeah.
it, but
No,
I'd
I'm in the
love to.
same boat. That Home Depot deal is we're gonna sell 1,000 pallets in less than 3 weeks. That'll be a very big project, and as fun as ASD is, I don't make any money when I go out there, so I'm gonna stay home and we're gonna make some money and we're gonna film the whole thing, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I love AST, don't get me wrong, and I've got friends that are out there, and, "Hey, you need to come out," but honestly, I'm not making any money while I'm out there. I can call you up and do a FaceTime video, and you're gonna sell me the same stuff. You're paying 5 to 10 grand for that booth that you're renting. You've gotta make that money back somehow.
That's light. I hear the
That's
booths are like 30 to 50.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
It's
Let
nuts.
me talk to you before you go or after you go, because I know what you're doing out there, because I've been to trade shows, and I love setting up at trade shows because when people are there, they're there to spend money. So,
Yeah.
let's talk when you're slow. That's me, because I'm a cheap guy.
Not you.
Yeah.
That's okay though.
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate it. We have a lot more I know we could talk about. I say this to
Oh, yeah.
everybody. I'm like, we didn't even really touch the surface, and I know we'll do it again because there's a lot more to talk about. But I have held you 22 minutes past the hour, I promise. So
All
we'll
good.
end it there. But Mike Rice with Mike Rice Auction and Wholesale at Meridian, Mississippi. I missed the street name, but
Mike Rice Auctions. I don't even know it anymore. It's my off day. So it's Mike Rice Auctions, Mike Rice at Mike Rice Auctions Wholesale, 1707 4th Street, downtown Meridian. We wholesale to everybody, man. We just try to help people with small businesses. And we appreciate you giving me the opportunity to get on here. And I love what you're doing. And it's only going to help other people.
for sure. Well, follow the Holy Hustler on TikTok and Facebook. And Mike, I'm sure we'll talk to you soon, man. I
Absolutely.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.